And welcome to Fox 13 Unscripted. Here we are in Studio B, live here at 7 o'clock. We appreciate you dialing us up on the app. We got a special show for you tonight. For those of you who have seen a lot of our coverage, I'm sure you will remember some of our D-Day veterans. We've got Stearns Poor here. Stearns is from Tampa. Stearns went to not only to Normandy with us, celebrating the 80th anniversary of D-Day, but also recently to watch our nation's capital for the Parade of Heroes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
How you been? You look amazing.
Well, thank you. At 96, 96 is 96. But
Well, you redefine 96, my friend.
both trips were unique and are so firm in my memorabilia, and the trips to those cemeteries and the bagpipes and the people. I must have shaken hands and touched over 1,000 people in France, in Normandy and Paris, and that in itself, and they all to a person thanked me, and they just wanted to get close and make sure that I heard and knew what they were saying, and it's my assumption that at last was that they're more concerned about their future than we might be.
Yeah.
That's my take.
So you appreciate all this, all the accolades. I mean, that's so worthy for sure. And 80th anniversary obviously was a big one, but it still has to mean a lot to you to know. What I was touched by, too, was how much reverence and graciousness and thanks you guys saw on the other side of the world, especially in the middle of Europe.
Mark, the trip to Washington, D.C. had two events which shook me up. Matter of fact, they teared me up. The first was at the Washington Monument, and the flag unfolding and the refolding, and how and I'm sitting there watching that, and I'm seeing the grass and the water and the White House in the distance, which is a unique thing. And I enjoyed and the flag. There were four men on the corners, and one of them had been a great help, Fred, a great help to me in Normandy. And so I recognized him at one of the corners of the flag. And when they finished that and went through the what each fold signified, and they finished, and when they did, and each of the four received a flag, and Fred brought his flag over to me. Well, that cheered me up. It was such a touching step on his part. And the second, of course, was up at the tomb of the unknown soldier, and standing at the edge of that, and a younger man, because I knew, I got thinking about what was about to happen, and he put his arm through mine, and I was happy about that. And the two sentinels came over and guided us into the center, and then we turned towards the tomb and stopped, and the single sentinel at that point turned and picked the wreath off the holder and brought it up to us and handed it to us, and I put both hands onto that wreath, and I wished my knees would stop shaking at that point. And we backed away, and he backed away, and then we went forward and gave the wreath back to the sentinel, and he backed, and we did, and he placed it on the wreath of the tomb of the unknown soldier.
Just amazing.
And at that point, when we stepped back, the bugle was playing taps. Well, I thought it was maybe mine.
Looking
maybe.
for a chair.
but anyway, it wasn't, and I was happy about that, but my knees were shaking so badly. And the thought flashed through my mind about my worthiness and the fact that I was there as a representative of the Elks and veterans. And the thing that flashed through my mind was Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Because
that was in my early teens, and that vivid in my mind.
It's just amazing how much time has passed. You mentioned we've got some pictures of your Elks trip in D.C. coming up in a bit, but we want to share with our viewers, for those of you who may have missed it, just a little clip from our Normandy trip here with Stearns and the rest of our Florida Elks. Check it out. Half a world away, time has a way of standing still. But for those who are living history, 80 years has passed far too quickly. So the Florida Elks Association has brought 4 veterans from Tampa to Normandy to witness a nation and a world saying thanks. So with heavy hearts, Manny, Hector, and Stearns strolled on, graveside, beachside, even jeepside, greeted by a lieutenant general. Respect and admiration at each and every turn. And with them, many believe we're losing something else.
It's a lost world of respect and duty and a sense of belonging to something greater than yourself.
Maldonado in there and Malin Grip as well. Rest his soul. Tell me, I know you can't pick a moment, but give me your best moment before we go, because we're about out of time. Your best moment in Normandy.
My best moment in Normandy, frankly, was I heard at our first cemetery in the background. I think there were two bands and a couple of choruses, and they were impressive. But I heard those bagpipes, and I heard them back in 46, I think it was, when we were in Scotland. I was on the aircraft carrier Randolph, and I heard them, and being a Norman, they really struck home. And I forget which cemetery, but they surrounded the bagpipes surrounded in a rather large circle and played. And
it was amazing. That was the Brittany American Cemetery in Brittany. And remember, those bands were local bands, which was really impressive.
Yeah. And the people were terrific.
It was indeed. We have Hector Hita coming up next. We're going to talk to Rudy with the Elks as well. So, Stearns, thank you so much for coming over.
You're
always
very
appreciate
welcome.
you. Thank you again for your service. We're
Mark,
so
good to
glad
see
you're
you
doing so
again.
well.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. But don't move just yet. Hang on. Look at him. See how quick he can move? We've got much more with the Florida State Elks, and Hector Hita is coming up next. Don't move. And welcome back to Unscripted here in Studio B. Special night tonight because we've got our World War II veterans and the Florida State Elks Association. We are honoring them and thanking them. Hector Hita is here with you. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you.
You look amazing. Just celebrated a birthday. What did you? How old are you? 45?
No, I wish I'd be 45. I'm 98.
98 years old. You look amazing for that. How's life been
you.
for you?
Thank you.
How's life been for you? How you feeling?
Life been all right. I keep doing the same that I used to do.
Yeah.
You know, watch the movies, watching you people on television.
Well, it's funny you mentioned movies because when I met Hector, now Hector he's been to the Parade of Heroes with the Elks, and obviously he was one of our stars of our coverage from your D-Day trip in Normandy for the 80th anniversary.
Yeah.
And for those of you who missed it, I want to share a little bit of his story here. And one of the things I remember most, he mentioned the movies. You went to the movies when you were 17 with your granddad. That's how he got in the service. Watch this.
Oh, yes.
Born in Puerto Rico, he vacationed with his grandfather in New York the summer of 1944. Hector was 17. His granddad took him to the movies, and back then, movie theaters gave updates on the war before the featured attractions.
This was D-Day.
They showed clips of the D-Day invasion that had just occurred weeks earlier and reported the heavy Allied losses. Hector tells me that's when his patriotic heart awakened.
When I see those young kids over there, the way they were fighting and running, I say, I want to be one of those.
And what the Army needed most were volunteers to be paratroopers.
I say, well, I raised up the hand. I didn't know what a paratrooper was. I just came from Puerto Rico. I could hardly speak English.
Before he knew it, he was leaping out of C-47s in the Pacific, where the Japanese were waiting for him. Hector made 39 jumps, and one in particular will remain with him forever, as will this knife, a gift his comrade, a good friend, gave him as he lay dying from a Japanese bullet.
So he take the knife and he gave it to me. That's my friend was there with me. He died right in my hand.
A prideful life with no regrets from the start, and a deep love of country thicker than the wool that covers his heart.
I'm glad that I went and fight for this country. I love America. I love this country. If I gotta go back again, I'll do it. Believe me.
And I was struck by that. And you mean that. You would go back and serve, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
What? Tell me about. We haven't really talked much since you came back from D-Day and you had your trip. What was your favorite memory? I know they called you Hollywood Hector because you were so popular, waving to everybody. What was your favorite memory of that Normandy trip?
Favorite number in Normandy, that was when I was in the Jeep. There was the general came over. I told the Jeep, take Hector all around and then bring it out in the next exit and stop, and I'll be right there. So when I went and I said goodbye to everybody, when I get out, the general was there. He said, Hector, I hear what you did in the army. I'm going to make you a sergeant. He made you a sergeant, and I have had a big argument with a captain before from Leyte Beach. And he said, how many punches you giving to the guy? I said, I give him one. He said, you should give him another one for me. And I laughed. He made me laugh. I never forgot that.
That was so great. That was Utah Beach, right? Was that Utah Beach where you were driving? Utah or Omaha? It was one of them, right? I think it might have been Utah where the Jeep was. It was Omaha Beach, driving around.
Yeah, Omaha Beach.
Yeah.
And then I was, he said, clean the Jeep good because Hector gonna go all the way in the sideway slow so that people can see a hero. And I said, well, I'm not a hero. He said, yes, you are. What you did in Leyte over there in Luzon. And I was a real army. I loved the army, and I went to help the people over there. There was all young kids over there. One guy died in my hand. A bullet came in from a tree and killed the guy. That's when I started fighting with the captain, and I had to give him a punch in the nose.
Well, you do what you got to do, huh?
Yeah, the reason why, because he said, okay, we got the ammunition now, we got everything, let's get going. He said, well, you go in the front, I go in the back. I said, well, you the captain, you're supposed to be in the front, I'm supposed to be in the back. He said, I give you orders to be in the front, and you got to be in the front. So that's what I give him a punch in the nose.
Did he ever? So whatever happened from that?
I thought when the general called me to go around the beach, I thought he was going to call me to give me a court martial or something like that. But he don't mention nothing about that.
Uh-huh. He knew you were right.
He said, you were right.
Yep.
There was a photographer behind us.
Yeah.
Taking picture.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
was
know
too
what
much.
from you who was, but he took everything. He said, Hector, don't worry about it. I got everything in the machine.
Well, don't let anybody ever tell you you're not a hero. You are heroes to all of us. All of you gentlemen are, for your courage and your bravery and everything that you did for us.
Thank
so
you.
we appreciate you. And thank you for coming over too,
Okay,
Hector.
thank
Appreciate
you.
you. Look amazing.
Huh?
I want an invite to next year's birthday party. Can we do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
next year I'll let you know.
We'll be there, and I will be there. Don't move. We have more. We got from the Florida State Elks Association, the folks who put all this together and make all this magic happen, when we come right back. And welcome back to Fox 13 Unscripted. Here we are in Studio B with our third guest of the night. It's a special night. Rudy Massey is here from the Florida State Elks Association. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm pleased to be here. Thank
Well,
you.
we're so glad to have you. I met Rudy earlier this year when I reached out to you, said we were interested in maybe following you guys to Normandy. And I'm just blown away with what you guys have done for all these veterans. And making sure that they have been, the red carpet is rolled out everywhere they go, and now you see how much it means to them. Why does that mean so much to you to make sure they get what they need, they get what they deserve?
Well, one, I never served. My draft number was 361. It was height of the Vietnam War. I enlisted in the Marines right here off of Gandy, and my mom would not let my dad sign the paperwork because I was 17.
Yeah.
So I felt like I owe them a lot, and this is my way of paying them back for their service. And the Elks, when I joined the Elks, I didn't realize all they did for veterans. But our motto is, as long as there's a veteran, Elks will never forget them. And the GI Bill came from the Elks. The VA system started from the Elks. So there's a whole history of how Elks have supported the vets. And in Florida, Florida Elks, I was really blessed because they saw the vision that I had about taking these guys and recognizing them and honoring them, and they just jumped right behind it, and they support what we're doing. And now there's other states around the country that are joining in with us.
When we were on the trip, and I was so excited to go for obvious reasons, and I remember one thing I remember kept saying every day when I would see you, I said, "Well, this is great." You kept saying, "You just wait till Saturday.
Yeah.
You just wait till Saturday." Well, here's what happened on Saturday.
I have to explain. No, I can't say no.
I'm just happy to do my part, but I am touched by the emotion.
I thank all these people that came in to see the parade. That means a lot to me. That means they appreciate what we did for them.
That was such an emotional, amazing day. That was the parade in St. Mary Glace. And I know we were emotional both after the end of that because we didn't want it to end, as they didn't either.
It was absolutely. I was crying. I was broke up, and I was thinking of. So over the years, we just started with World War II vets. Now we honor all the vets on Parade of Heroes all the way up to the War on Terror. But I was thinking of all the vets that spoke over the years, and I would introduce them, and they're not with us anymore, and including my dad, my uncle, and it's pretty emotional to know that these guys aren't forgotten what they did. And you met Erwin Stark. Mm-hmm. Erwin was 96 when we took him up on Parade of Heroes, and he came back and he wrote me a letter, and his letter said, "I thought my life was over. Nobody recognized what we did. Nobody appreciated it." And at 96, he started volunteering at Bill Young VAVS Center once a week because he felt like it gave him something to live for.
Well, it's so important that our younger generation really understands the history. That's one of the reasons I was so passionate about sharing these D-Day anniversary stories and their stories. And I think that's one of the reasons I was so touched by what happened in France, to see all those youngsters that their parents didn't force them to be out there. You could tell they wanted to be there because they know that at that point, these guys and gals changed the face of not only American history, but European history. And it's the first time we've had peace anywhere in Europe in past 80 years. Hasn't happened before that. It never did. And that's because of those who were there on D-Day.
You're right. And I feel like Tom Brokaw, when he wrote the book, The Greatest Generation, my dad never talked about the war. My uncle never did. All the war, they never talked about it. That got them to open up and start sharing, because they kept everything inside, and they really didn't have a youth. They lost their youth. Their youth was spent fighting, and then they came back to families, work, and they never got to have what everyone else has.
I promised some pictures. We have some more pictures of the Elks if we can roll them. One of these we'll see Stearns with the wreath as well. what's really neat is from start to finish, by the time these guys and gals get to the airport, you've got folks there rolling out the red carpet for them, thanking them. And I think that's really neat. This is such a community effort. Everywhere they go along these trips, they're honored, they're thanked. It just doesn't stop, which I think is so special.
Yeah, and I have to thank the Tampa Airport Authority, the USO, the TSA. I mean, they all partner with us to do this along with the airlines.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that picture of the Marines. Yep.
And that right there it's one of the best views we have in all the land, to be standing on that mall, and so much emotion there too. All right, so how can folks help the Florida State Elks Association get involved if they wish to? It's floridaelks.org.
Yes, floridaelks.org. Go to the website, and on the website it talks about everything we do, not just the veterans, but scholarships, our youth camp, our children's therapy services. We have 32 licensed therapists that go around the state for free and treat children, and it's a lot to do with the veterans. And there's elk lodges probably right not far from where you live.
Sure, there's some very close. I think we met at the Gandy one not too long ago. And you mentioned the scholarships, and I think you told me that you guys are the largest provider of scholarships, college scholarships, outside of the government.
Yeah, we are
in the country, which is amazing. You think about all that money.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if people can't get out, don't want to do that, you can also go to the website and make a donation.
Yeah, that'd be great. Please do. FloridaElks.org. Rudy, thanks again.
Thank
Always
you
a
very
pleasure.
much.
Yep, have a great
Mark,
holiday.
you're a good man.
Thank
Fox 13's blessed to have you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, I appreciate what you guys have done. We'll see you on TV. Thanks for watching.